Talk about the next domino here. The Hawks, now that they've sent Korver to the team they were supposedly chasing in the East, I mean, that couldn't say rebuild more loudly, guys, right? If they put lights above the door. So the next question is, what happens to All-Star forward Paul Millsap? Ramona Shelburne reporting interested teams are being told he'd want around $35 million per year for 4 years once he becomes a free agent this summer. So that may limit who wants to deal for him now. Zach, where do you see Millsap?
Hold on, 35
per year.
Per year. 35 per year. Yeah, you just retired. I don't know why you're like.
Remember all those dunks we showed earlier? You might want to get back into that.
Eating paper is not going to turn back time, my friend. Look, but that's a real thing. Like, if you're trading for him and you're giving up real stuff, you got to decide: can we pay him? Do we want to pay him? And is he actually going to stay? Because I'm not going to give up something for a rental. I think we're all rooting for Toronto, right? Like, the Atlanta should just subsidize the Eastern Conference Finals. Just here you go. Everyone just load up. But then you got to decide: do we want to pay Kyle Lowry $30 to $35 million, Paul Millsap $30 to $35, and DeRozan? That's $100 million for 3 guys going forward. That's hard to build a team.
I didn't realize he wanted that much money.
That's his max.
I don't think Toronto can afford him. That being said, I would love to see him in Milwaukee. Toronto is the ideal place because them reaching the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and I think they will probably get back this year.
That's their need. We started the week talking about
They're
this. Their
weak at the
biggest
3
need
and
is
4
right there.
position.
They started the dude to pull his pants down at power forward last night. Bebe is not ready for this.
He will look good in a Milwaukee Bucks uniform, playing with Giannis. I said that right again.
Good.
Playing with Giannis, adding to what they already have, that young group of talent that they have, him being, a guy that can spread the floor, add some shooting to them, some defense effort to what they have, and I would like to see him with the Bucks to add veteran leadership with that group.
We've heard the Nuggets.
I'll tell you, the Nuggets almost traded for him in July.
Don't do it.
When the Hawks were trying to get off him then and bring Horford back. I think Washington's looking around. They're desperate to make the playoffs. I think New Orleans is looking at him. Like, does he work with Anthony Davis? Can we make salary work? There's a bunch of these. Sacramento's all hell-bent. Let's get in the playoffs and get swept. Let's do it.
I believe that's the motto. Let's get in the playoffs and get swept. They're going to make T-shirts. Why don't you think the Nuggets shouldn't get near him?
What? Do you see that dysfunctional group up? I mean, coach calling them out. They're not playing defense.
But that's the thing.
Your coach called you out for not playing defense. You come back the next night and give up 127 points.
But isn't that why at some point, don't you have to get serious? Like, the Nuggets have been this, like, oh, they're young, they're interesting, they win 33 games every year, they have all these trade chips. At some point, don't you have to do something?
You have to do something, but as a player, I'm not doing it for him. I'm not helping him.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. Will he stay there?
Will he stay there? Right.
No.
I mean, Toronto, to me, is still the most interesting, and I do think you pay all those guys if you can work out the numbers.
It's going to cost you a Valanciunas or a Carroll and pieces of your depth.
I'm okay with it costing you Valanciunas.
You get an all-star. You get another all-star.
And look, this is your window if you're Toronto. This backcourt is not going to be around forever, and if all franchises know that you don't get this lucky for this long, I mean, look, they went 20 years with only one playoff win, right?
I agree with that. They should be all in right now. Like, everyone's like, they'll still be an underdog if they get Millsap, but you know what? So what? The whole point of being in the NBA is to try to win when you have a chance.
And as we saw with the Warriors, someone gets injured for part of the playoffs, and you never know what can happen. So Toronto, make a move. We want to see it.
T-Dot.
Comes to Hart. Hart down. The shot was blocked. Or was there a foul with 7/10 of a second remaining? It's a foul call. The foul is on Jeremy Grant, and the Ney will go to the line. Wow.
So that was the foul that basically decided what was a fun basketball game last night. And Nene hit his free throws. That was that. Tracy,
it was terrible.
Not so excited about that, right?
No, not at all.
Didn't like it.
Yeah.
Didn't like it.
Why? That's so egregious. You got to let everything go at that point in the game, right?
Absolutely.
Everything.
Absolutely.
I said if it's not egregious.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I don't even know that there's a foul that's not egregious there. I don't know that there's anything there. I mean, that's the ball.
Right?
The ball.
Clean. He hits the ball first before body contact. That's clean.
Billy Donovan feels as
smirk.
you do, right?
I like that smirk from Billy.
Pretty good. Bigger story, of course, from that game was the show that Westbrook and Harden put on. And Russ had 49, 8, and 5. Harden had 26, 8, and 12. At the end of the game, the two former Thunder teammates embraced on court. It was very sweet. They whispered in each other's ear. Oh, look at that. Afterward, they made it Instagram official, guys.
Aww.
So sweet. Tracy, who impressed you? This, by the way, this is not what happened when Russell Westbrook went to play Kevin Durant up in Golden State. I just want to point that out. Who impressed you more?
Well, if I guess, if we're going to put more impressive. I'm going to go with Westbrook.
Okay.
Reason being is because he's coming off a back-to-back, and coming off a back-to-back, your legs are tired, and you're going up against, a guy that's considered in the MVP race along with yourself. So there's anticipation and expectations on this game. And he performed well. He had a career high in shooting the ball from beyond the arc and ended up with 49 points. Lost the game. There's some things he could have done better that I would like to see him do.
Decision-making or?
Decision-making at the end of the game. So right here, first of all, coach put him in a bad position, and having James Harden is the guy that's guarding the guy off the ball. So they're just going to switch that right there. I don't like this, taking this type of shot over James Harden. Drive the ball so it gives your team an opportunity to get an offensive rebound. You got a great offensive rebounder in Cantor out on the basketball court. It's just a bad
They are at the line where they're just too predictable in crunch time.
Yes.
So last 3 minutes of the game, score within 3 points. Westbrook has taken 90 shots this year.
Nobody else has touched the ball.
Next guy in the NBA,
Yeah.
Anthony Davis, 45.
That's
and then everyone's
stat.
in the 30s to 20s. The next guy on Oklahoma City is Oladipo, 15. 90 to 15. Like, you might want to diversify a little bit.
His usage rate is higher than everybody else. He's, 45?
He's on pace to set the record.
But the
That is crazy.
predictability, I mean, that's been the knock on the Thunder for so long that it's now the theory of why Kevin Durant left, correct?
Yeah, and by the way, he was more impressive last night. Anyone who anytime a 30% 3-point shooter goes 8 of 15, you give him the nod.
Yeah, but this is where coaching has to come in, because you have to sit with Russ, do film time with this guy,
Right.
and have him understand, for you to be a better player and for us to be a better team, this is what you have to do. James Harden, MVP candidate right now.
Yeah.
You see what he did? He didn't take the last shot. He made the right play to Nene, got to the free throw line. Those are things that you have to do. Those are winning plays.
Remember everyone killed LeBron for making the pass in
pass,
crunch
right,
time?
yeah.
Now it's like James Harden made the pass. Good for him.
Right,
That's
well,
what we all killed LeBron for
That is the story of LeBron's career, right? And I mean, look, James Harden certainly likes to pass just a little more than Russell
Just a little
Westbrook.
bit.
Just a little bit more. Look, when you look at all the former teammates, right? KD, as mentioned, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. These three are on pace to be 3/5 of the first all-NBA first team this year. And of course, we remember when they were on a real team together. 5 years ago, they led the Thunder to the finals, but fell short to the Heat. And then, of course, OKC shipped Harden out. Durant has also bolted. Zach, how much do you think the Thunder regrets breaking up this big three?
I think if you put him up, well, they certainly regret Durant leaving. They didn't want that to happen. They proactively traded Harden, and they defend that decision to a hilt. He wanted to leave. He wanted to see what he could do as a franchise player. He was going to sort of burst at the seams being here. I just think they did it maybe a year ahead of time. I would have liked to see them roll it out one more time and what they could do, because clearly the team worked. I mean, they made the finals.
I understand James Harden wanting to leave to have his own team. I mean, I was in that position when I left Toronto. Hindsight, looking back, I wish I had stayed, because we would have had a great team. I was coming into my own. Same with James Harden. With Katie and Russ, the way these guys have panned out, the type of players, these three, you're looking at a dynasty with these guys, seriously. But, we're looking back, and I didn't expect James Harden to be this good. I really didn't. He's a hell of a player, and we're talking about him being the MVP this year, and Russ is doing his thing. So, yeah, I'm sure there's some regret.
Well, I think that what you just hit is a real issue both for the Thunder and for other teams that could have gotten into the Harden trade talks.
Right.
I don't think that many teams thought he was ever going to be this good,
I
including the Thunder.
I knew he was good, but not this good.
And you want to think that a good organization, and the Thunder are clearly a good organization, could, even if he wanted to leave and have his own team, could have said to him, let's work this out. Let's figure out a way to feature you more. Let's move the pieces around differently.
For that to work, you would have had to, looking at how he's playing out, you would have had to put him at the point guard and move Russ off the ball.
Well,
you can't keep that guy coming up.
I was going to say, that's a real thing. There's only one ball. I mean, there's a reason the Spurs went to Ginobili and said, man, you got to come off the bench. We can't have you and Tony and Tim. It just does. It's only one ball.
And we just discussed how much Russ likes to pass. So then there's a little bit of that. He likes to take all the last shots by himself. I mean, there's talk about like, hey, this could be that group. When you look back at them, they are slowly becoming, is that the best team that was together that didn't end up winning a title? I mean, there's some competition for that. Of course, you've got the Stockton and Malone Utah teams. You've got Penny and Shaq. But where would you put them in that group?
They're going to be near. They're at or near the top. I mean, I think they won, if you exclude the year, there was a lockout year and then the year Durant got hurt, they won like 55 games 7 years in a row or something like that, or were on pace to do it. I think it was like them in the 90s Sonics were like the only teams to win that many in a row,
Right.
that many games and not win the title. I'm partial to the Weber era Kings.
Yeah. Vlade and all that. I mean, look, if that's true, if they are at or near the top, that's a hell of a regret then.
Yeah.
I mean,
It should be a hell of a regret.
That's a big deal. All right, let's talk about shooting in the NBA this season. 31% of NBA shots are three-pointers. That is up 22% from just 6 years ago. All of which Mr. Zach Lowe broke down in one of those aforementioned excellent ESPN.com articles. Check your facts, check your website, check your local listings. One of those.
Sure.
Right? One of those. The NBA's VP of Operations, Kiki Vanderway, told Zach, quote, "I don't think we're at or near the point where threes will top out." Do you think the abundance of threes is eventually going to hurt the game in any kind of way, or?
I think, look, if every team started to play like the Rockets and we had games where literally you had 100 combined threes in a game regularly, I think some fans would be uneasy with that. They would feel like certain parts of the game have vanished. Everyone's just running around chucking threes. We're not near that point yet. We still have a lot of teams that play differently, but I think fans want to see different strategies, different styles, and if teams all started playing like that, I do think there would be a stylistic sort of issue that a lot of fans would find distasteful.
I don't know. I mean, because watching some of these teams, they're boring to watch. I could watch the Rockets and go to state every night.
So you
I
got
like
spoiled.
that. I like that style of
But
play. It's
they're
more
good.
exciting.
They're good, though.
They are. Now,
Can you
bad
watch- can you
teams
watch it?
trying to do that? No, I can't watch it.
I mean, you just saw Russ check a three that
Whatever
was so
type
happy.
style they have, I can't watch
You
it.
want to watch the Brooklyn Nets shoot 45 threes?
I don't even like to watch them now. So. I don't give a damn what type of style they have.
But it's funny, too, because the flip side is that you then have fans who say, teams aren't playing defense. And
They're
then
not.
that's- Oh,
come
They're
on.
not.
Come on. We're going to do this.
They're not.
Teams play hard on defense. That's a great myth of the NBA. These guys are defense is hard. Maybe you got to cover so much ground now. You got 5 3-point shooters, pick and roll, Clint Capella going down the middle, and Harden dribbling it with shooters around him. You can guard that. That's hard. Was this like the old graybeard? Like you're 75 years old? You just retired.
They're not playing defense. They're not playing defense.
Is it when you watch teams out there? What do you yell at the TV about defending? What do you want them to be doing different?
A lot of guys are missing assignments. They're out of position. We just went through a clip. We just went through a clip at the end of the game when James Harden made that pass. The guy on the weak side was clearly out of position because these guys are so worried about their own man. Giannis the other night when he hit the game winner on the Knicks. Mm-hmm. He dribbled the ball for 10 seconds.
Like Charles Barkley.
Exactly. And Jason Terry is at the half-court line guarding somebody, not paying attention to what's going on. Like, he gave no help. It's bad defense.
But
everybody is so concerned about their own man. What
Because
about
they
the
can
team?
shoot threes. Because they can make shots that are worth an extra point. And if you leave them alone, suddenly a three is raining down on your head. That's hard.
You got to cover the ball, man. You can't.
That was a
worry
tough
about
shot
this.
Giannis made. We're going to look at it later. That's a tough shot.
He's 6'11".
That's true. He's a big boy.
That wasn't a tough shot. That was
Man,
He's 6'11".
Maybe not for you.
Did you have a video you wanted to throw to, or should I just wrap this discussion?
Just wrap it,
Okay,
wrap
that's
it.
it. We're done. We're taking a quick break. Oh wait, no. Producer Danny wants video. Look.
You see what I'm saying? What you have to look, know your personnel, right? Guard the paint, man.
They did. They went at the paint. You talking about the defense?
That was terrible.
Well, that's
defense.
what we're going to see more of. The defense say, okay, we're gonna err on the side of guarding the three
worried about
instead of
the
guarding
three.
the
I'm
rim.
so worried about the corner three. Yes, you got to guard, but you got to come on. You got to be up there already. He doesn't. He's so indecisive. He doesn't know what to do right
he's
there.
following what the coach says in Utah. The coach says in Utah, we give up a contested layup before we give up a corner three that's open. That's the instructions.
That's terrible.
Well, I'm just telling you what it is.
3 is more than 2. I'm just going to put that back out there. We have to take a quick break, but first, here's our distant replay from this date in 1984, before some of our production staff was born, I was informed.
That's annoying.
The human highlight reel, Dominique Wilkins. Take a look.
Down low for Dominique. Baseline drive.
Oh man.
Did you see that jam? I don't know how.
That's why they have a statue of this man outside the arena.
Get out of his
How do you go home to your boys after you do that to them? You just gotta shake your head when you see them, man.